The views expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect those of this station. Welcome to Insights into Northeast Michigan. This is a Channel 11 News public affairs program dealing with the issues affecting those in the community as well as Northeast Michigan and the state. And now, Insights.
Luke Clyburn is the founder of Noble Odyssey, which is a program that does extensive dive training for kids ages from anywhere from 8 to 18. Now they use a vessel like this, and this is the pride of Michigan. And we're going to go on there today and talk to some of the Sea Cadets and Luke and tell us a little bit about their responsibilities as Sea Cadets and see what they get to do out in the open water. I'm here on the pride of Michigan with Luke Clyburn. Now Luke, tell me a little bit about your Noble Odyssey Foundation.
Noble Odyssey Foundation was created to develop a maritime interest with American youth. And we've been in operation. This is our 35th year of training Navy cadets in the Great Lakes. Even though we started many years ago, we have developed a lot of young people that today are very capable of going in and taking care of our Great Lakes and water resources.
And what's your background on all of this?
When we got our first ship back in 1977, we started just training cadets on the lake. But actually, on our first trip down the lake, we picked up a dilapidated old boat the Navy was going to scrap, which became the Noble Odyssey, and that's where the foundation name came from.
Oh, okay.
But it was in Alpena that we came in to make repairs. Our generator we had a fuel line that was a problem, and we came in, and Alpena technicians took care of it for us.
Why Alpena?
Because it was en route.
There you go.
Where we were, and we were coming from Lake Michigan.
Okay.
So we made a stop at Alpena and found the people very friendly, and we've been coming back ever since. But our program has really focused over the years on developing top quality kids that have an interest in the maritime.
And where do you find most of these kids who, want to come out here and do training, learn how to dive, and basically, they're getting advanced training here with legitimate people who know what they're doing, technical skills, and teachers who have been doing this for a long time.
Most of them come from maritime families. They have had uncles, grandfathers, fathers that were in one of the sea services, and they actually have sought us out. We do a lot of recruiting programs, but it's stories like what you're doing right now that help us get young people.
Do you guys stay in one area when you're doing training, or do you go out in the open water and go from there?
When we started, we were involved with parades. We'd come in for events like the 4th of July. But as we've developed over the years, we've gotten involved with actual research projects with universities and with major schools. Those projects pretty much dictate what area we're working in. We've found that Alpena for training and bringing young people has so much to offer with both the geology as well as the shipwrecks. We're looking at a study of the ancient shorelines of the Great Lakes.
Okay.
We have a forest right here at Alpena that's 25 feet underwater, and the tree stumps are carbon dated at 7,569 years.
Wow.
Alpena just happens to be located in an area that is very unique to the world.
Yes.
And there's so much to study here.
And what type of studies do these kids need to have coming in here? I know there's engineering and history and science.
We're looking for young people that really have a desire and are hungry for learning. And we take that and we develop it. Our specialty has really been in the underwater. And because of that, we have dive instructors on board. We have dive masters. We run a very, very safe program. We're following the standards of the American Academy of Underwater Science. And it's run just as safe as diving can be run.
What does this vessel have to offer them compared to the other ones? I know you have another one.
We have actually
we have quite a few here?
Vessels,
wow, okay.
We have boats that we do specifically for just small operations.
Okay.
This gives us a housing. We have 25 people on board the Pride of Michigan.
Goodness.
So you put that many people on
Yes.
board.
You
need
need-
a larger vessel.
Yes.
But this transports all of our equipment. We have dive compressors. We can fill air. We can repair, do what we need.
Right.
And we use the small boats to go out and carry divers to specific places. So
Okay.
we have a second vessel that we use that the girls stay on. I don't have separate living accommodations on board the Pride of Michigan. Hopefully in the future we'll have a vessel that'll be big enough.
Right.
But that means we have to come in at night.
Right.
So we come in, the young ladies that are on board have a little vessel that they stay on with the mother, and they're able to take part in all of the training. So that's worked wonderful, but we need a bigger vessel to put the girls on.
These waters in Lake Michigan, in Michigan, the lakes are they're so vast, and they do, like you said, have so much to offer. Especially, I feel like Lake Huron, like you said, the forest that's you guys discovered, and also the shipwrecks that are here. So it has a lot to offer for these sea cadets.
We have a history, and I feel that my work, which has been for many years, that looking at the old shorelines, looking at the history of this part of the world, we don't know what that history is. And I think when I look at the preservation of tree stumps that are 7,000 years old, I think there's much of our history that can be preserved. We're working on a film right now that's talking about America's ancient industry, copper. Copper was being mined in the state of Michigan 7,000, 8,000 years ago. We know very little about where that copper went, where it was transported. Bessler Museum right here in Alpena has samples of copper that's been located in this area that was brought out of the Keweenaw mining industry. We know very little about that. And I think underneath the waves is where the history of this part of the world still remains. We're working on ancient riverbeds. We found drowned waterfalls. We found caves overlooking waterfalls. All of these things need to be studied.
Well, I think what you're doing here is really great, and I hope to talk to the students more. Would you call them students, or would you call them sea cadets?
We call them sea cadets.
Sea
they
cadets.
are students. I still feel, when I'm at sea, I'm still a student. I'm still learning.
Oh,
Every
that's
time
how I feel.
But
what are the age groups actually here before we...
the age group that I have is 13 to 17.
13 to 17.
And these are cadets that actually, as an advanced training, they've been in the Sea Cadet program for a year.
Okay.
They have gone to Great Lake, Illinois, to the regular Navy boot camp. They've been through. That gives me the disciplined youngster who has a good understanding of what life at sea. They're able to take orders.
Right, the hardship that will come with
And the
it.
discipline that we have is real discipline. We're protecting limbs and keeping them safe, because when they're handling lines, they have to be instructed, and they have to sometimes be told very quickly to move, and the discipline they get. And that program really helps. I don't think with a youth program that didn't have the discipline, we can really get to diving and do all the things that we do that require a tremendous amount of discipline.
After the break, we'll speak with Nicholas Ratinaud, Petty Officer First Class, and learn about his experience in the program as well as the other cadets. So, Nicholas, how long have you been doing this?
This is my 4th summer in the program. I started out in 8th grade, and summer going into 8th grade. And basically you start out as a little cadet, not knowing really, kind of unsure of yourself, and then as the years go on, you learn new skills, gain confidence, and eventually become a leader on the ship, and that's a great experience.
How did you find out about this?
Let's see. Well, in the wintertime when we're not on the ship, we have meetings usually twice a month at different areas of the town. So we were having a meeting. The group met at this school, and I was at the school and I saw a poster, and it looked interesting. So I went to one of the meetings and I was hooked.
How old are you right now?
I am 16 years old.
16. So where are you from then? Are you from Alpena?
I am actually. The ship belongs to the Great Lakes Division, which operates out of Metro Detroit. So we have cadets mostly from Macomb, Oakland, and Wayne counties. So that's where most of our cadets are from, and the ship operates out of Macomb County. But I personally am from West Bloomfield, which is in Oakland County.
Oh, how far south is that for people who don't know?
That's about 4.5 hours away. So it's a nice drive up here for all the cadets. And some of the cadets from out of state, they fly from Texas, fly from Rhode Island to come over here.
Wow, there's people from Texas and Rhode Island here?
Yeah, so the crew consists of half of the crew is from our home division, the Great Lakes Division, so they're from Metro Detroit area. And the other half are from the National Sea Cadet Program, so they're from divisions all over the country. And then they come on the ship to learn more scuba diving skills, seamanship, engineering, and teamwork. So.
How long do you plan on being a part of this?
Well, let's see. I'm going into my senior year, so this would be my last complete summer. So I'd probably start turning over the keys to some younger cadet later this summer, just so that's part of our duty as like the leading cadet to make sure things run smoothly after you're gone.
Mm-hmm. That's very responsible of you. So what do you plan on doing after this?
I'm not quite sure yet whether I want to pursue a civilian or a military career, but if I go into the military, I would like to go to the Coast Guard Academy, and if I do not, I think I would like to do naval architecture, marine engineering, either at University of Michigan or Webb Institute.
Now, Luke was telling me earlier that you guys get to kind of dabble in so many different aspects of training. What was one aspect that you really were drawn to?
Well, first, I was really interested in like being in the engine room. I like the mechanical aspect of the ship, like knowing all the ship systems from the propulsion to the engines to the generator and electrical systems. So that was really fun to learn at first, like having to what it takes to be the ship running, make the ship get running. And then as I moved on to like the deck aspect of it, like operating the watches in the helm in the pilot house, and then. Now it's more of a leadership position because you have to make sure that people in their positions are making everything run smoothly. So.
Now, what does a typical day look like for you out on the vessel?
Well, usually we'll be getting up around 6:30, anywhere from 6 to 7 actually, depending on what the plan of the day is. We'll get up at 6:30. We'll have a little physical training in the morning, go for a little run, do some stretches, just get us woken up, and then. We'll come back to the ship, and we're split into two groups. The crew split into two groups, so just for organizational purposes. So one group will usually eat, and then the other will get dressed, and then we'll switch. We try to keep things running as efficiently as possible, just for time, so we can get the most stuff done that day. So after breakfast, everything's squared away on the ship. We'll either head out to the bay, or if we're working with NOAA, we'll head over to the NOAA building, and then we'll do some dives, take some classes over there. And then whatever the plan of the day is. So, and then usually we'll come back in, come back to the ship, come back to the port around 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the evening, and then we'll usually be in bed by 11.
All right. What do you do responsibility-wise of planning? Do you help with the planning at all?
Well, as far as the overall plan for the trip, usually that's up to the captain and the commander. They usually plan the itinerary, like where we're going to be for the overall trip, where we're going to be heading, and what courses will be offered as far as diving and other aspects of the ship. So they sort of plan that part, but then it's usually up to myself and the other petty officers to sort of plan when we're going to do this, how we're going to incorporate all these trainings into our day-to-day schedules. So,
how long did it take you to get to where you are, to have your title?
Well, like I said, this is my 4th summer, so as you gain more experience, you gain more responsibility, and you become more of a senior cadet because of your knowledge you've gained, and then it's your responsibility to teach. So, there's not really a specific point where you transition from being a junior cadet to senior cadet, but I guess it's when more of you're looked up to by the other cadets. It's like, for new knowledge, they'll come ask you questions, how to do this, how do I do this? Like I said, it just takes a little bit of time. You gotta get new knowledge about the ship and just pass it on to the younger cadets.
Now I want to go into, obviously we're out on the water right now. What are some dives out here that you guys get to experience? I know that there is a forest underneath here, and you have the Grecian, you have some shipwrecks. So what dives have you experienced, or some of your favorites?
Well, we've been in Thunder Bay for many of the past summers, so I've had the opportunity to dive on many of the wrecks in this bay. Like you said, there is a drowned forest in the area that we've also done some experimenting with. So on this trip, we've stayed mostly in the shallow dives so far, just because some of the cadets, this is some of their first dives, so we're getting their feet wet, literally. And
Wait, what is the depth of a shallow dive?
a shallow dive is usually under 40 feet. So we're going on dives like the Scanlon's barge and the Monhanset. They're just as interesting, but they're shallower, so it allows them to get the full experience in a more shallow area. My personal favorite in the bay is the Grecian, just because it's really neat, and it's just I just went down there, and it was just beautiful. Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite wrecks in the bay.
What did you see down there?
Well, when I dove down there, we went in the stern section, so it's really neat because I think the bow was collapsed, but the stern section you can just swim through the cargo hold, and you're just swimming, and there are these huge beams overhead, like where you're swimming through the cargo hold, and then you head back, and there's like you can peer through a hatch into like the engine room, and you can see all the mechanical aspects of the ship, and it's just the scale of it is enormous, and you think about what happened, how it got here, and then yeah, so just the whole shipwreck was just amazing as far as the condition it was and what you could see down there.
And how long is a typical dive that you guys do?
Well, we use dive tables to determine the maximum time you could stay underwater for, which that varies by depth because your body absorbs nitrogen underwater at different rates depending on the depth. So shallower dives you can stay under longer, and then the deeper you go, the shorter the dive is, both because you use your air faster at deeper depths and because you absorb nitrogen faster. So usually a shallow dive, you can, if you're at like 30 feet and you're breathing well, you can stay under for like 45 minutes to an hour if you wanted to, and then for dives at like 100 feet, you're usually limited to 20 minutes maximum. So
that's because of the pressure.
Yes. Yeah, so at higher pressures, like at 100 feet, you have 4 times that pressure than just up here. So you use your air 4 times faster than if you're just breathing it on the surface.
Right. Now, how many people go down with you guys?
Usually, well, the number one principle of diving is that you always have a buddy. So you're paired with your buddy, and then we'll usually go in groups of like 3 pairs of divers, so 3 buddy pairs, and then usually supervised by an adult. So I have 3 pairs of cadets, and then one of the adults will usually accompany us as well.
Awesome. What are you guys doing today?
Let's see. Today, the other cadets are in the CIC room. They're watching their rescue diver video, which is teaching very important skills that they need to know to be on the ship. So then after that, I think we're going to be heading out. I'm not exactly sure what wreck we're going to be going on today, but hopefully we'll be heading out to the bay soon and getting on some shipwrecks.
I saw that they were studying with their books in there, like good children. What's kind of the ratio of, studying inside with books and literature compared to experiencing stuff outside?
Well, definitely we're all about like the real world experience, being on a ship and all. So when it's raining like this, we try to take advantage of it. They take the time to do their book work. But it's pretty much the cadets' responsibility to balance their duties on the ship and their book work duties. So like sometimes we have night watch just because we always want to have somebody up just for security, and then to keep an eye on the generator and the engine spaces, so they can do their book work during that time, or just when they're not on duty on watch, like in the pilot house or back here.
Do you guys have tests both indoor and outdoor?
Yes. So everyone has a specific job for a given situation, especially when we're under away, like leaving port. Everyone has a specific task, whether it be doing one of the lines or be on helm or in the engine room. And then, for example, for like a fire drill, a man overboard drill, everybody knows their specific job. They have a specific responsibility to help save the ship or pick up the person out of the water. So they're trained for that specific duty. And then also it's everybody's job to keep the ship clean. And it was built in 1979, so it requires a little bit of upkeep. So that's everybody's job as well.
And for my last question, I know that there's so many things that you've learned here. What are a couple things, though, that you've taken away personally, a personal gain?
Well, like I said, at first, I was really excited to be learning all the new things, so like learning like physical skills, like how to operate the helm and the engine room and stuff, and how to like had to do maintenance on the engine, do maintenance on the ship. But now it's more soft skills. Like I'm learning definitely learning a lot of leadership skills from managing all the cadets. So as you go throughout your Sea Cadet career, you learn different skills. So at first it's basic stuff, but then you learn into more complex stuff, and then all the way up to the top. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time.
Of course.
Coming up, we'll speak with all the Sea Cadets and get their take on being aboard the Pride of Michigan. Now, as a woman, what do you plan on doing after this?
Either want to join the Navy or the Coast Guard.
Do you feel, I'll ask you this one, do you feel, obviously, there's gender here, you know, boys and girls. Do you feel you get the same amount of training as the boys do, or do you take away something different as a girl? Do you feel like something is different?
I think we all get the same training. We're all treated very equal, and we all work very hard to make sure that happens. I feel that females take away something different from the training just because we're females working on a predominantly male ship, and that kind of gives you a new perspective on working as a team. And I think it really gives a chance for females to prove that we can do everything just as good as males can.
And what do you plan on doing with this?
I'm going into nautical archaeology for the Navy.
There are plenty of things to learn on the vessel, and majority of the Sea Cadets agree on the most exciting. What are kind of the most exciting things that you guys get to do here?
Well, scuba diving for one. I mean, not very many 15-year-olds can make, you know, scuba dives on a shipwreck that sank in, 1860s. Another exciting thing that we do is the cadets actually run the ship. It's overseen by officers, but to be able to adjust the RPM on an engine on an 81-foot ship is pretty exciting, and to be able to helmet and drop an anchor, be a line handler, it's all things that most kids don't get to do.
Both the crew and the Sea Cadets work in close quarters, and we know the students must have an insight on their teacher. What's something that people might not know about Luke? I'm going to ask you.
Yeah, he definitely is serious when it needs to be serious, and fun when it needs to be fun.
That's a great answer. Okay, who knows a little something that is funny about Luke?
Yeah, all right. Woohoo. He has a huge macaw at his house.
What's that?
It's a giant bird.
He talks to them like they're children. He does.
So that bird up there, that's like his baby?
It's like their child. That Molly, Sir Francis, and the macaw they have at their house are their children.
So he's a bird lover.
Whenever we have a fire drill, one of the people is actually assigned to get that bird. So, for example, we had a fire drill like day 2, and no one got the bird. Needless to say, he wasn't very pleased.
So you guys all failed, basically.
Yeah, we didn't grab the bird.
Not only does this build teamwork, the advanced training prepares them for the future. Maybe someone doesn't really know.
Well, this is just one of the many. This is just one of the many trainings offered by Sea Cadets. Sea Cadets is throughout the country and throughout the world, and there are there's like marksmanship training, there's culinary training, there's medical training, and that's all through the Navy and the Coast Guard, and they're big sponsors of us. For example, our boot camp that we go through is 10 days of basically just compressed Navy boot camp, and we go to the same place and get instructed by the same people that the Navy get instructed by.
Oh, wow. So you guys get full-on experience here.
Yeah, except like week-long classes are compressed into like an hour.
Yeah.
And we get all of them.
Yeah. Right. And how about you?
In the Sea Cadets, you can get like ribbons and other citations and things for stuff that you do. You can also get medals, and that's sometimes it's for training, sometimes it's for other things that you do, and that's a pretty cool thing.
Another interesting thing that our program does is we're recognized by the Navy. So when you graduate cadets, I think it's up to E3, up to an E3 that you can join the Navy as the rank that you leave Sea Cadets, which for anybody who knows, or the Coast Guard. And for anybody who knows about military, that's like a $5,000 pay raise.
Wow. And that's what this can help you guys with. This is what gives you guys a jump start over somebody else.
That's right. And a lot of the trainings that we have can carry over into a lot of the citations that we have can carry over into the Navy or the Coast Guard.
After speaking with the cadets in there, I know that they are working very hard and taking on a lot of responsibility. And this is a 10-day program, but what do you hope they gain from this after they leave here?
I hope the experience that these young people have while they're on board the Pride of Michigan training is a little better understanding about the earth and what we need to do to take care of it. These are going to be the leaders of our country in the future. And we really hope that this experience will bring in an awareness about the water resources we have, which are, this area is blessed with having the largest amount of water anywhere in the world. We need to take care of it. We want these young people to have an interest in going into sciences that are surrounded by water. We want them to have an understanding about how to make the world better in the future.
And what do you gain from all this?
What do I gain?
What do you feel about all this? I know you've made such a great achievement by helping these kids out, by doing something that, maybe they wouldn't have known they could take on this much responsibility.
I think that for the kids that we work with, the youngster who is going to the Naval Academy, the youngster who's going to the Coast Guard or going to become a doctor, those kids are going to be fine on their own. But I think with the association with that type of youngster, we have so many kids that have them to look up to. And I think that taking a youngster and making him find that he can accomplish things and then seek the education that it takes to make it happen is a wonderful part that we play.
Well, thank you so much, Luke. I think everything that you're doing is so wonderful, and I definitely think that you're giving back to these kids. So, Luke Clyburn, the founder of Noble Odyssey, was gracious enough to let us go out on the Pride of Michigan to talk to some of his Sea Cadets and all the responsibilities that they get to take on, and also the extensive dive training that they take out on Lake Huron to go to the shipwrecks, also the underwater forest that we have here. And I hope you guys learned a little bit more information about the Sea Cadets here. So thanks for watching Insights.
Insights into Northeast Michigan has been a Channel 11 News public affairs program. If you have any comments, suggestions, or topics you would like to see on a future show, please email us at the web address on the screen. This has been a production of Thunder Bay Broadcasting Corporation. All rights reserved.